Hey guys, it's Hither Mann here from Fortune Academy, and I want to talk about free Forex education.
Slide this way if you're trying to see results. Active, get active, they can't match this.
Is it the way forward? Because let's face it, there's tons of information out on the internet, and even when I started my journey in financial trading back in 2008, the first thing I did was Google how to trade Forex, and there's absolutely loads of information. Now, I thought, quite cheekily, because everybody loves a freebie, let's face it, that free education would work. I could just troll through all of the articles and learn everything from baby pips to blah blah blah. I used to go through all of the websites and have a look at all the free info, and I thought it was the right thing to do. So I started trading in the way that was taught in these free education material. And what happened? Well, okay, I ended up scalping the market, which means going in and out of trades, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell like a crazy person, and I ended up losing a lot of money. Turnaround was losing 200 grand in 2 days, and that was when I realized that, oh my god, maybe I don't know what I'm doing, and maybe the internet isn't good enough. So what I really should have been thinking is free education isn't good enough, because there's a reason why it's free. Free is, free, people need to understand free means it should be just a preview. It can't, if anyone teaches you how to trade Forex completely for free, please don't do it, because it's gotta be incorrect somewhere. I'll tell you why, because I will show you a diagram on my flip chart, which is here, how the brokers, who is like the middleman in this industry, will manipulate your trades. So let's go into that now. Okay, so now I'm here with my flip chart. I will now show you what goes on behind the scenes that actually should make it very clear to you that learning anything for free comes with some sort of catch. I mean, this is what's going on. So right now, as a trader in the industry, you are what we call a retail trader. So this is you. What actually happens is that obviously money is kept. Anyone who's come to my events will have seen this, but if you haven't, then this is what you really need to know. Anyone will understand this simple thing that in the bank is where the money is. So trading the financial markets is very simply buying or selling currency within a pair. So euro against the dollar, or dollar against the yen, or pound against the yen, or whatever. There's always a difference in the currency pair between the two. So things are either going to go up or down, and literally you're going to either be buying or selling, and it can happen continuously throughout the day. Depending on your time frame, strategy, etc., etc. That's for another video, not this one. This video is telling you about why this industry is flawed when it comes to free education. Okay, so the money is quite happily in the bank, which we can understand and we accept. However, we cannot just ring up the bank, especially as a retail trader, to trade the euro against the yen or pound against the dollar or whatever. You need to go through a middleman, who is the broker. So it's the broker that is actually where these problems arise. Now, this is something that happens, I would say, with 99.9% of the brokers. In fact, 100% of the brokers make their money in this way. So what happens is, when you take a trade, the broker allows you to facilitate that trade using their relationship and their liquidity from the bank or liquidity providers or whatever. Now, they make money in two ways. Number one, transaction costs, which is a similar type of situation. If you, for example, went to a bank and changed some euros to pounds, or a broker, like let's say Tesco Money or a post office or whatever you want, you change some pound currencies to a dollar currency, you know, like the old-fashioned way where you actually take physical cash in and change it for another currency. That always incurs a transaction cost or a commission, as you probably know it. Now, that's the same for any broker. So when you trade Forex, you are going through the broker, which then will give you the pricing from the bank, and they will take what is called a transaction cost, or in technical term, it's called a spread, which is fair enough because that's how they need to make money. So I'm not slating that in any way, shape, or form. This can vary. This can be a few, like, you know, some brokers have a very small spread, i.e. a small transaction cost. Some have a very high, wide transaction cost. And you need to know the difference between a small one and a large one, especially if you're doing small time frame trading, which I don't actually recommend. I personally will never teach my students to go lower than the hour time frame. Okay, so why does that matter? Because just imagine you are the broker. Would you encourage on a free education that's on Google or whatever else to trade more often or less often? And the reality is, of course, more often. So a lot of the free education, a lot of it is powered by someone like a broker that is not interested in you winning or whatever. They're interested in making money. They're a business, okay? So after all, they are going to dress themselves up into a let's teach you education for free, because free means lots of people will come in and they'll just do some crazy stuff, and they will just get lots of money from your trading excessively, which is where they make a lot of money on transaction costs. That's just one of the ways they make money. The second way is this. The second way is, so number 2, is every time you take a loss, they will take it for you. When you think about this diagram, if you lost a trade, you would ideally think that the bank would, take the trade. They would just say, okay, you lost, I don't know, £500 on your trade, I'll take it. But actually, very, very often, it's the broker that will hold your trade, hold your position, it's called, and they will take the loss. So they actually encourage you to lose. So their trading strategies are designed for you to overtrade so that you give them a lot of money through transaction costs. And secondly, they do want you to lose, because they make money that way. It's called a B book. I can talk about my A, B, and C books with my students. My students that work with me on education will learn this. Now, I like to teach people the wrong ways of trading, not to do it, but to be aware of it, because I don't want you to fall into that pitfall. Now, if there's one thing you're going to take from this video, is quite frankly that the brokers are the rogue kind of part of the industry. We need them, we can't trade without them, but they are not out there to look out for your trades and make you do well. There are very few brokers that are very interested in you doing well, and they tend not to be the retail brokers, they tend to be more institutional based brokers. Now, as a educational provider, I tell my students complete transparency about which brokers do what, and they can trade with whoever they want, but my strategies that I teach them, the ones that were taught to me by my mentor, my trader, they will beat all of this problem. So, for example, transaction costs won't be an issue, because we're not trading in and out, day in, day out. We're not going in 20 times a day into the market. We go in a few times a day max, so 2 to 3 positions maximum in a day. Next, when you start learning how to trade like a proper trader, i.e. not the amateur retail style of trading, then you fall into the 5%, because this is 95% of the market actually loses in financial trading, in Forex. The brokers have really made it so easy for you to get enticed by their, get rich quick kind of terminology. Of course, it's not as crazy as it used to be, because there's a lot more regulation about it now. But ultimately, free education you should be really wary about. Why would an educator teach someone completely for free? Like the full works, not just like a preview. A preview is one thing, but the full thing. I mean, I know some people that were doing free education, no names again, but the reason they were doing that is because the broker was paying them in their masses of money they make through this thing, plus, the volume, and there's a lot more to it than just this. But in a nutshell, they pay per head. It's called cost per acquisition, the CPA, for each person that comes through the door, and that's why that individual can afford to pay to teach for free, because they may get paid by the broker. So technically, they're not a proper trader. They're just teaching you to go crazy, lose, and then get paid. I am not here to tell people that they're bad. I'm not here to slander anyone. Just to be clear, it's just the reality. I just want you to be aware of what happens in the industry, and therefore you can then figure out what side are you in. My point is very clearly, invest in your education. If anyone's doing it for free, don't teach or learn from them if it's really, really completely free, and if it's really cheap as well. There's a reason why it's cheap. I mean, think about it, you get what you pay for in life. I mean, okay, if there is like a module that's really cheap just to get you interested in something, then fair enough, that person is doing the right thing, just trying to get you like used to learning Forex. But if the whole education is free, stay away from it. And I'm telling you now, everything that is free on the internet is probably driven by a broker, and they're not incentivized to make you win, because now that you know how they make money, and there is more to this, then you will see that it's no point learning the free stuff. I personally would never teach anything for free because I don't see the value in that. I know people with the wrong mindset will turn up to learn for free. They're going to be the very fickle individuals just trying to get, like, obviously anyone who gets something for free and expects to pay or invest nothing in their education is never going to get results. So I never teach anyone for free. If anything, I try and make it on the top end. I try and make my education fairly priced so that it is an investment. It has to have some sort of investment, a solid investment, because that means you're going to be committed. So that's how I work in this industry, and I like it because the caliber of students I have are incredible. I literally cannot complain. They are so good. Plus, of course, lifetime education through Fortune Academy is something I'm very proud of. So you know what, if you guys want to learn more, I have events in London that I do that are not free for the same reason, but they're not too expensive. It's not about making money on the tickets, it's about just getting the right mentality through the door. So that is something that I always advocate. Every month I have an event in London. If you can't make that, the only thing I do for free is webinars, because one, I am in my home, so it doesn't actually require me to, like, you know, it's a preview. It's not like a full day event like I do the ones in London where I'm spending 10 hours giving you some solid value and some solid training, etc. Because that I do require the right people come through the door. But I do agree in a free preview, and I do that through my webinars. So click on the links, they're all in the description below, and just get on board, just have a look. But remember, if you expect to have everything for free in life, you won't get the results. So start investing in yourself, start investing in your education, and see the results and see how far you go. One more thing just before I forget, because I have been talking about how I teach and why I teach Forex. Well, I haven't told you the full story. The full story is quite simply a really fun one, which is I have something called a prop fund arrangement, which is literally where there is money in the city of London, and I have a company that I work with that allows me to use funds from their prop fund because they know that what I teach is solid. So that's a very big factor, because for what this arrangement is simply that, let's say there's a trader that I have taught that's come through Fortune Academy and they're really good. I will start giving them a minimum of 50k. And this is a trader. What they will do is trade that prop fund. And how do I make money on this? Well, I will take 50%. Let's say you made 5k in your trades, okay? You take 50 and I will take 50. So I'll take 2.5k, you will take your 2.5k, if that's what you've made. So that's how it works for this prop fund arrangement. Obviously the 50% split, so I'm talking about a 50% split on profits, on money that you haven't, okay, this is not your own money, it's somebody else's money because it's coming out of the prop fund. I'm incentivized for you to trade well because I actually make money from you trading really good, and I take 50%. And the more money you add to that, so let's say someone is really, really good, I will make sure that they get more than 50k, because quite simply, the more money you're trading, the more profits I will make, because your profits will substantially be a bigger amount. The same kind of trading, let's say if you made, in this case, okay, 10% of 50k is obviously 5k, 10% of 500k becomes a lot bigger. So let's make it really obvious, just so you get these numbers land. Let's say you were playing with £500,000. 10% of that becomes 50k. £50,000, which is then the profit that we split, divided by 2 or whatever we agree. Usually, to be honest, it will probably be like a 20% split for you, and then, or 25, depending on how good you are. And I will take the rest plus the prop fund. So that's how I make my money. You know, it's actually really exciting for me, and it's not easy to get people to trade profitably, because the challenge, well, okay, they do make money, but then to do it consistently and to do it with a large amount of money, the challenge is a different one altogether. So that's why free education would never allow me to get people to trade large amounts of money. And it's actually very exciting for me to watch my students trade 50K accounts, and then we're going to add to it. This is all new, this is all happening this year through Fortune Academy. So if you want to learn about it, click on the link and have a look yourself, come to one of my events, because it only happens through the London events, and I'm really excited to do this. So at least this makes sense to you. So my point of this video, I don't want to keep it too long, I just want to get it to the point, and the point is very simply, keep away from free education, free complete education. So stuff you see on the net that's like how to trade and this is how you should trade. There isn't really a reason for someone to teach you how to trade for free. There should always be an investment in your education. I personally, I'm very happy with my students and the investment that I take from them, and it's a significant amount, but it's worth every penny because it's a lifetime education program. So they come with me, they stay, and I teach them in person. I'm very keen on that because I like to teach them in person. Now the online education, which if you're watching this video and it's already out, that's a very different scenario. I don't teach that in person, it's online, but I've done that on purpose because I've had such a massive demand from people all around the world saying they want to learn how to trade Forex and they can't come to London. So I completely appreciate that. And that is why the online education has been created. It is solid material. There is an investment to it. It will never be free. I don't want it to be free because I want you guys to actually learn. So if you've ever had anything given to you for free, you'll realize you will not respect it. That's human nature for you. So hope that video made sense. I will love to hear your feedback, and I would love to hear from you. Anyway, follow me on social media like I said. I'm on social media, all my videos, I think the links come up at the end, so look at them. I'm on social media. My favorite one would be Instagram, and then Facebook and LinkedIn. Twitter is another one that I use, and of course please subscribe to my YouTube video. Please tell your friends who are interested in making money to learn from me too. Thank you very much, and see you in another video. Bye.
Slide this way if you're trying to see results. Active, get active, they can't match this. I got ambition, I'm driven. Hither, man, got the vision. Stay woke, if you're trying to win, you should listen. If you're trying to win, you should listen. Stay woke, if you're trying to win, you should listen. If you're trying to win, you should listen. Stay woke.